There's another market coming up this week, which means more behind the scenes filming as I show you guys everything that I'm going to be printing to get ready for it. But this market is a little bit different than your standard market. I'll tell you all about that and show you throughout the week what it is that I'm bringing to this market, let you know what's selling, what's not selling, and of course, I'll give you the total in the end of what we actually sold. Welcome back. My name is Ashley, and I have built a six-figure bakery from my home. I'm now taking the knowledge that I learned to build that business over 6.5 years and applying it to grow our 3D printing business. But this time, I'm taking you along with me so that you too can grow a business from home because I think that everybody should have the opportunity to earn extra money if they need to. So let's get into it. When I say that this market is a little bit different, what do I mean? Well, I'm going to keep calling it a market because I don't really know how else to refer to it, but there's not a whole lot of other vendors there. It's actually a fun fair at a local school about 30 minutes from me. And they do this every single year. This is the third year that I will be participating in it. I've always done it with the bakery, but this is the first year that I'm doing it with both businesses. There's only one other vendor that's going to be there aside from me. Normally it is just me. So this is the first year that there's more than just the baked goods being sold. What is unique about this market is that it's a really candid audience that you have. So the fun fair is set up by the school council, and there's lots of different activities for the kids to do. It runs for about 4 hours, I want to say. And when everybody comes into the school, they actually walk right by where we are. There's a bunch of raffle prizes that happen just behind where we're going to be set up. I'm always set up outside of the library. So everybody that comes is funneled past us, which creates a unique kind of experience because you don't typically have that at many markets. Now, you never know what kind of attendance there's going to be at these type of events, but that kind of goes for every single event. So I'm curious to see how busy it's going to be this year and how the 3D prints are going to do. I think I'm going to set up only one table for the 3D prints, and I will figure out that setup as I go. And no doubt in my mind, all the little flexies are going to be the biggest seller because it's a school and there's going to be a lot of kids there. But we'll touch back on that after it's over and I'll tell you how everything went. All right, everybody, let's see what I'm working on to get ready for the next market. So, not a ton right now because I still don't have the A1 mini fixed. I'm hoping to get to that in the next couple days. I just haven't had the time. I do think that I just need to take apart the hot end, make sure that all those screws are in fine and the wiring is good. And hopefully it's just something as simple as that. So right now on both A1s, I'm working on just printing some bigger crystal dragons. Both of them are happening in the Zyro filament. And this one is in a matte filament. This one is going to be printing in the silk filament. And I'm making these because I'm all out of the bigger crystal dragons. I had a couple left at the night market and they both sold. So obviously, I want to make sure that I have some new ones lined up for the next upcoming markets. And with that, I want to show you guys the capsules that I ended up using in the gachapot machine just because they arrived right before the night market and I barely got them filled. So I didn't get to talk about them in my last video. But this is them. They are 2-inch capsules. The ones that I had originally got were 1.5 inches and they didn't fit. They were too small that two of them kept coming out of the machine at once. And I'm actually happy that these ones are the right size and that they're 2 inches and a little bit bigger because I'm able to fit slightly bigger flexies in them. So you can see this was the size that I was printing to go in the 1.5 inch capsules. Still really cute, but I can make them a little bit bigger, which is what I would prefer so that people are happier with them. So you can see this spider is a better size. And I'm excited now to be able to print more things that are slightly bigger for the next market for this machine. I will obviously keep you all in the loop while I'm doing that, and you can see what I'm putting in the machine. And I have a great idea for the next market as well to get people more interested in purchasing from the machine. And I'll let you know what that is as I get all the details worked out. Okay, guys, welcome back to the print room. A1 Mini, still not fixed, story of my life. But I just want to show you how these Blob Lab Axolotls turned out in the newest colors I did them. So I really like the blue and yellow, but this one looks so good. So this is actually the Summer Gradient by Zyro. And you can see, so none of the green got down there into them, but I just think it looks amazing how the feet came out in the light blue and the top of the bodies are darker. So I'm probably gonna restart those and do 2 more, and the next ones will have more of the green, and I think that they will look equally as good. And then I need to do like a pink or purplish kind of ones over here. I didn't even realize at the last market that I had no axolotls left, and these axolotls are always good sellers for me. So just making sure that I have a few different color options for my 2 upcoming markets. We are 3 days away from the next market. I have been gone away for a couple days, so I've got lots of work to get back to prep for that next market. Okay, we have the next round of finished axolotls here. I think this is all I'm going to print for at least the next market, and then we'll see if I need to make some for the one after that. This is the one done with the gradient. So it's interesting just to see this is the same roll of gradient filament, right? The blue and the green, and just to see how different they come out, where this one's predominantly blue and this one's predominantly green. And I love them both. And I think they're going to be such a hit on the table at the markets because they look so good. And it's hard to even see on the camera, like they are partially translucent, which is really cool. So, anyways, I just really love these files and they always go over really well. So now I am going to get printing a few minis, some different items again to get in the Gotcha Pop machine because I want to get that filled back up for this market. I am 2 days away from the next market in pretty good shape because I had printed a ton of stuff prior to this, but I do want to just obviously keep going to make sure that I continue to be in good shape for this week and next week's market. So I decided to print these cute little farm animals, which are actually a part of the Gachapot Patreon. They are part of their miniverse creations. So there's a couple different people who create things within that Patreon and with different styles, and there's linklets and these miniverse ones. So I'm doing these farm animals for the next couple. So these are little cows, and these, I think these were horses, if I'm remembering correctly, but they will fit perfectly in the capsules. I actually think they could be made a little bit bigger, but I will find out once they're in the capsules. And they don't actually take all that long considering they're multicolor. I've got 10 printing on each plate, and each of them was less than 6 hours. So that's great. And there's a whole bunch more in there that I would like to try. Some actual characters like Mario, and there's Pokemon. So we will see how many I can get to. Okay, I really love these ones and think they're going to come out so good with the colors I chose. So these are little hermit crabs. And then over here are little rays, manta rays. So these are still a part of the Gotcha Pop Patreon, but I made these ones a little bit bigger. The other ones, when they printed the cow and the horse, they were 29 millimeters on their longest side. And I printed these ones as 40 millimeters. I believe they will still fit just fine in the capsules. We'll find out when they finish. I think they will be good in there. And I love the way that, especially these colors are going to pop. Hello, we are 1 day to go until the market. And of course, I'm just trying to get as much done as I can between now and then. This first printer, though, right now is working on a cake topper that I need. And then this printer is working on these cute tiny little otters for the Gotcha Pop machine. I made some monkeys earlier, and then this is how the rays turned out. They do fit perfectly inside of one of the capsules. And then this was how the hermit crab came. I'm so glad I chose the neon green for the shell. I just think that it worked out so good. And this is how that size fits inside of the capsules. So perfect fit where nothing is being squeezed. There's still a little space in there. So I'm overall very happy with how they came out. I have to today, along with printing obviously as much as I can for the market, I have to start working on some custom orders. In the next clip, I will show you the custom order I'm offering for end of the year for teachers. And then I also had somebody order some tabletop little signs. I'll show you what I mean when I print them later for graduation for a local school, where I guess every year they just kind of draw them up by hand, but now they're going to have these and then they'll have them for each year's graduation. So I will show you guys those as I get them onto the printers. Okay, so let's talk about the one custom order that I'm doing, and this is for end of the year teacher gifts. I haven't had the chance to make the items that have to print for the other custom orders, the one that came to me directly, just because, as per usual, I'm busy in the bakery trying to prep for this market. So the one that I'm doing is this right here, which is a custom tabletop pencil holder that I designed to print in two parts. Because if it doesn't print in two parts, you end up having to print it this way. Otherwise, you're doing a million color changes this way, which doesn't make sense. But if you print it this way, you're printing a ton of supports. And I didn't want that filament waste of printing supports, nor did I want the added time for printing all of those supports either. So this way allows me to print a bunch of bases at once. One of them started to roll up on the edges, so I stopped that one. But this allows me to print a whole bunch of bases if I want, and then I can just print two of these face plates at a time as I need them with the customization. And I'm selling these for $16 a piece, which is a pretty good profit, in my opinion, for what they are and the time that they take. The customization for each one only takes me about a minute to change the name. And they measure 8 inches from the end of the eraser to the tip of the pencil. So the actual pencil container part of it is probably closer to 6 inches. So those I'm going to be working on over the next few weeks leading up to school ending, because here where I live in Ontario, Canada, our school goes right until the end of June. So I think the last day of school is June 25th. So I expect that the week or two leading up to that is when it will be busier with orders, but I am starting to see some trickle in already. As I've talked about before, I do post things on Facebook Marketplace, and that's the first place that I went to last night to put them up. I've already had about a half a dozen orders come in, and I only put it up at 11 o'clock at night. So it hasn't even been 24 hours yet, and I'm pretty happy with that. Over here, I am printing the tops for dumpling keychain clickers. So these are the bases. They just finished actually. So I will get them out and get something else going. And then later on, I will get the actual dumplings together. But I do think that they turned out pretty cute. And we're just going to keep chugging along here. Okay, one last check in before we actually get to market day. So you can see that I am working on 3 of the fronts for these custom pencil holders for teachers on this machine. And over here, I am working on some Harry Potter magnets and keychains. So these ones have the magnets in them. You can kind of see the round part down there. And then those ones back there will be the keychains. Those won't finish until about an hour before I have to leave tomorrow. So hopefully everything prints fine and there's no issues throughout the night with them. And I will have them for the market to take with me. I do just want to quickly show you how the Blob Lab axolotls look with the eyes, because obviously that really finishes them. So that's the one that came out more green. That's the pink one, the blue and yellow, and then the other gradient that's kind of blue and more of like a clear. So again, this is a Blob Lab file. I really like their stuff. They're the ones that always have these big long eyes and everything. But these axolotls are always a really good seller for me. So that is it for tonight. I am just trying to finish getting everything stacked up together in the other room, ready for me to carry upstairs tomorrow morning. I will, of course, bring that camera and show you my setup of the table, and then give you a debrief afterwards of how the market went and anything maybe that I've learned or that I will change. I am considering only setting up one table, but that will be a game time decision just based on the space that I have. I know the space that I typically have there, and normally I have been the only vendor for this fun fair that they have at this school, but this year there is a freeze-dried candy girl coming as well. So it's still just she and I, which is great because we're the only ones there that are selling anything. We have a captive audience there with the families coming to this fun fair with the school. which is really great. But I just have to decide how my setup will work best, I think, once I arrive. So I will let you guys see all of that as it happens. It's market day. This is my last check in before going to get the car loaded and everything soon. So my little Harry Potters all finished a little while ago. All the ones at the bottom are magnets. The ones in the top corner, they are keychains. And then over here, just starting on that other custom order that I took. So if you can see on the screen, they're going to look essentially like how my price tags look on my tables, but they have words on them. So it says like class ring, bookworm, keys to success. It's just things that they put out on their table for their grad. I'm not exactly sure what goes with them. These will finish printing in a few hours and then I'll put them out for pickup. That's a good little one and pretty quick too. It only takes me about a minute or two to do each one on the computer and then send them off to print. So I'm going to get Harry here off the plate and then I am going to start packing up everything into the car for both businesses so that I can be on my way in just over an hour. I was happy to see when I arrived that they actually had tables set up for us already, which was great because I didn't have to bring mine out of the car and these were bigger tables. So I quickly got together setting up all of my small flexies. I keep them in the bins with their price signs and it's so quick for me to be able to put them out. Occasionally they get mixed up at the ends of markets, but I just sort that out as I'm putting them out on the table. And then I got to all of my Flexi Factory snakes and my crystal dragons, the axolotls all get out. They make a nice little fun area there. I was really having to try to figure out exactly how I was going to lay out this table, being just one table. And I had the kids constantly coming up, wanting to touch everything, which added a new layer to things. You can see here, this is my overall layout of the table. I do have those two clearance bins that I put together at the back of the, again, my ice cream pint holders. And then you get to the center of the table, which is all of my bigger sellers, the big and the small flexies. I've got a couple birdhouses back there and my magnets on the magnetic board, which is a really great way to display them. And then it took me a second to figure out exactly how I was going to fit the Gotcha Pop machine into the table, but I did it just fine. And you can see that I chose to put a Flexi Nemo in there, and if people got that, they would win a special prize. And the bin on top to recycle the capsules, which many did. Wow, what an event that was. I can't wait to tell you guys the actual final number of how everything turned out. But first of all, I'm going to ask you if you're still here, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me a lot to be able to come back here week after week and keep doing this content for all of you. I love to do this kind of content, but many of you watch and are not subscribed. So please subscribe and comment below. Are you doing markets this season? What kind of markets are you doing? And what do you think your top seller at these markets will be? I would love to hear it. I read all the comments and I respond to all of them myself. Okay, so this was the busiest that it has ever been at this fun fair for me. Again, this was the third year that I have done it. Last year was probably the least busy. If I remember correctly, the weather wasn't really great. And sometimes people just decide not to head out, obviously, when the weather's not good, even though everything happens indoors. This year just had nonstop traffic flow, which is great for me as somebody obviously there to sell products and to sell products from two different businesses. Now, the thing that made this market different from the night market that just happened was that people were able to approach both tables separately. Whereas the night market, they're kind of funneled into one line. And I had said that I thought that that actually hurts the 3D printing business because people who only want to shop that business are not going to wait in the bakery line to look at the items on that table. What was amazing about this event is people could approach both the tables. So if they wanted to look at the 3D printing products, they could go in front of that table. If they wanted bakery products, they could come in front of that table. And it worked out fantastic. Was I bouncing back and forth between both tables like crazy? Absolutely, I was. But it was great. And the time flew by. It was difficult to be setting up because there were kids around leaving school. I normally haven't got there that early because I've only had to set up the bakery. But because I had to set up both, I needed to be there a little bit earlier, which made it kind of difficult when the kids wanted to see things. But it also made them excited and they all said, "Oh, I got to bring my money back tonight." So you got to take the good with the bad. The good is that kids were able to see what was there ahead of time and get excited for it. The bad is that it got a little bit annoying trying to get stuff set up sometimes with hands reaching in to see things, but it is what it is, and I'm not going to complain about it at all. So the traffic itself probably started coming in. They have an hour ahead of time for kids who are special needs who can't handle all the noise around them. So they get to come in and have it be a little bit quieter. There's only a handful of people that come in at that time. And if I'm correct, I think that was the 4 to 5 o'clock window. And then at 5 o'clock, they open the doors for everybody else. So it's really only run from 5 till 8 for the whole school to come by. So 3 hours. In that 3 hour period, it was nonstop, truly nonstop. I haven't had this type of volume in the 3D printing business since I did the bazaar at my kids' school in December. And there was the kids' shopping day where there was 1,000 kids in a small room with only 8 vendors, and everybody was shopping at all the tables. At that event, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe I did $1,470 throughout the day. And that was approximately a 6 hour day, I want to say. This was a 3 hour market, and I did $1,370. So obviously, we all know that's not all profit. There's costs of the machine, the filaments, all that kind of stuff. But that is incredible to sell that many products within a 3 hour window. I had all my axolotl sold out, all my Flexi Factory bone snakes and dinosaurs all sold out. I had very few of my different flexis left. My clickers were all sold, infinity cubes, fidgets, all the stuff that I kind of keep in the center of the table in terms of all of my containers. That stuff was mostly cleared out. The gachapot machine, 100% sold. There was not a single capsule left in there. I did bring other capsules to be able to refill the machine, but I just never had the chance to be able to do that. And again, I think that this is where I'm going to print the other type of lid for the machine, because the one that I have, you have to use the screws to get it off. Whereas there's another one that slides in and out. And I think that that one will provide much easier access for me to be able to just throw in some more capsules. So I am going to hope to try to print that lid prior to my next market. And I'm so thrilled with how this turned out. Do I need to run my machines like crazy now for the next week to prepare for my final market? Absolutely, because all of my top sellers are gone. But I would rather have that problem than to have not sold anything. So tell me, what's been the best market that you've ever had? And what was your biggest seller at that market? People were loving the ice cream pint holders at this market as well, and the can koozies. I was able to get rid of a few things that I have in those clearance bins. I'm hoping to get rid of more at the next market, just to kind of dwindle down the things that I don't want to hang on to anymore, but I also don't want to necessarily give them away for free or especially throw them out. So I hope you've all enjoyed coming along on another market with me. I have one more market to go this season, and that is an outdoor one. I don't expect it to be certainly not as big as this one, but I don't even know that it'll be as busy as the night market was. We'll see. It's so hard to tell. You never know. It depends on whether people have gone away for the weekends, what the weather's like. So I'm going to prep for it like usual, because again, at least with this kind of stuff in the 3D printing business, if I prep and it doesn't sell, I just hang on to it for the next market or to sell within my local community. Bakeries has an amazing local following, and if things don't sell there, I can always come back, jump into my Facebook group, tell people what I have, and they'll come and pick it up. But of course, I'll take you along for that last one with me, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you all again so much for watching, and until next time, happy printing!